Deep Space Radio, Season 2, Cyberchild. So something crazy just happened down in the commissary. I'm Collin Gossel, this is Deep Space Radio. Okay, so right in the middle of the daily lunch rest, the commissary's drink dispensers began spurting out what appeared to be chocolate milkshakes, which is very much not what they are made to do. Even stranger, it was shortly thereafter discovered that every loaf of bread made by our automated baking drone had a tiny, uncooked egg right in the middle. Now, these are just the latest in a series of malfunction reports from all over the ship, with some even complaining about strange voices and images appearing on their consoles. Now, it may just be a glitch, or perhaps these milkshakes are something more sinister. There has been some speculation that perhaps a mischievous passenger has constructed some kind of self-transmitting virus, or that Hey, sorry about that, listeners. It looks like we're picking up some kind of interference here. Let's see.
What's in here? Oh, wow, an audio broadcast. And one skinny boy, label Collin Gossel.
Yeah, hi, yeah, this is Collin, and I guess welcome to Deep Space Radio. Who am I talking to?
I'm Towle. Why are you transmitting your voice?
Well, I'm hosting a radio show.
Really? Not a lot of connections here.
I'm sorry, Twyla. Where on the ship are you coming to us from exactly?
Right now, most of my program is sitting in your broadcast server.
Oh, you must be one of our computerized navigators.
No, I'm Annie Maddox's daughter.
I'm sorry, Annie's daughter?
Yeah, Twyla.
Twyla, Annie is computerized. She can't have a daughter. Do you know how very, very strange that would be?
Yeah, that's why she said I have to keep to myself for a while. She said people might freak out.
Twyla, this is Deep Space Radio. You're on the air right now.
Oh! Whoops.
Here's today's drama. Store owner Annie Maddox had a secret child. Now that it's been discovered, how will she explain herself? I'm Collin Gossel, and welcome back to Deep Space Radio. Now, the Cloudbreather is in an absolute tizzy today, guys, after yesterday's story, broken exclusively right here on Deep Space Radio, that computerized store owner Annie Maddox has somehow conceived a child who is now freely roaming the ship's computer systems with all the self-control you'd expect from someone who's been alive for 2 full weeks. Now, I don't have to tell you all how strange it is for someone with no body to have a child. The questions surrounding computerized parentage have been a hot-button issue throughout the colonies for as long as most of us can remember, and the moral, not to mention legal implications of Twyla's existence have many aboard the ship on edge. To try and quiet some of these nervous murmurs, Annie herself recorded a small message for everyone on board. Here it is.
Hi, everyone. So it looks like the news is out. Yes, I am a mother, and I understand completely if you're too shocked to offer congratulations right away. You're probably wondering how? I mean, what is she? Is there a father? What did she come out of? Great questions. Let me tell you. So first, this was only possible because of the artifact last month. It sucked the energy out of everything with a body and put it into the ship, which supercharged the entire computerized team. We were like superheroes. We could do things that we were never able to do before, and I realized that it might be my only chance to have something I always wanted. A family. So here's what I did. Using a blood sample from my ex-husband stored on file, I analyzed both our genetic codes and synthesized a potential combination with some randomized elements to imitate a natural mutation and set parameters to account for any unforeseen side effects. It sounds crazy, right? Yeah, I have no idea how I did it. I couldn't do it now. No one may ever be able to do it again. Even supercharged by the artifact, it took me days. All to create Twyla. But even though she is my daughter, she's never had a body. Her mind was born in the mainframe. She doesn't have to bother with the limitations of a human brain pattern. She's so smart. Even though she's only 2 weeks old, she already seems more like a teenager than an infant. But please don't forget, if you see her out in the world, she's encountering most of it for the first time. Please just try to be understanding and show her patience as she learns what is and isn't normal behavior for a passenger aboard the Cloudbreather. Thank you all for listening, and I'm very sorry to all the naked people Twyla has surprised while in the shower. It is a natural curiosity for someone without a body, I think.
how would you react if your friend had a secret child they didn't tell you about? Hey everyone, I'm Collin Gossel, and this is Deep Space Radio. I'm following yesterday's big announcement from Annie Maddox, where she casually explained how, under the influence of a strange alien artifact, she rewrote what we thought was possible to create a new form of life. Reactions have been pouring in from all over the ship. One notable statement came from our head of security, Officer Maxwell. Attempting to create a computerized mind with no human origin is, of course, illegal on many of the planetary colonies, so his opinion on the situation is an important one. Here is what he had to say.
Look, I don't know how this happened exactly, but Annie is a respectful, law-abiding citizen. She says she has a daughter now, and so my job is to keep that daughter safe, just like I would any other young citizen. Is the child a citizen? I don't know. But is she a person? Unclear. But is she an upstanding entity that respects the law? Can't quite tell, actually. But, is she Annie's daughter? Annie says so, so I'm just gonna go with yes on that. And that's all I have to say at this time.
Another opinion worth noting comes from our chief engineer, Tasha Paulson, whose ship's systems Towle has been making a mess of as she rummages about. Here is Chief Paulson.
Look, from a technological standpoint, there's a reason you're not supposed to create sentient programs. Computerized people are limited by what their brains were once capable of. But this new program, who knows what it can do? It certainly doesn't know what it's doing as it casually rewrites entire subsystems worth of code, like a child spilling a can of paint when mom looks away for 2 seconds. Except this thing doesn't just ruin the carpet, it blows up the ship.
So, fair to say, opinions are mixed. But no matter what people may think, Annie's daughter Towle is out in the world now making friends and making trouble, as evidenced by this recording sent to me by friend of the show, teenager Mercury Theed, with the subject line, "We run this ship."
Hello, Collin. This is Mercury. I'm here with my friend and accomplice, Twyla Maddox. Twyla?
What do I say?
Just say anything.
Yeah, this is Twyla, and we have formed an association.
That's right. We're a gang. A dangerous gang. Anyway, we just thought we should be fair and give you a warning before we take over the ship. I mean, no one can stop us.
Yeah, it would be weird to try, honestly, because we're, really powerful.
Seriously powerful. We're honestly very menacing, so yeah, just something for you to keep in mind.
This might be controversial, but I've just never understood the panic about computerized kids. Hi everyone, I'm Collin Gossel on Deep Space Radio, and what can I say, folks? Once a month, I have the distinct honor of broadcasting a lecture by Professor Bolin, former head of the Science Academy on Shen, and today is the day. What did I do to deserve this honor? They won't tell me, but for sure I am a lucky guy. This month, the good professor is tackling the admittedly topical subject of computerized humans. Here he is, Professor Bolin.
Good. Hello, everyone. With a new computerized passenger aboard the ship, and with many among us sadly ignorant as to the history and science behind the groundbreaking technology of computerization, I felt it would be prudent to offer up this short lecture on its principles and history to help inform any outspoken opinions. What many of you may not know is that before the advent of computerization, interstellar travel was a long and tedious process. It could take centuries for ships to reach even the nearest planets, with their entire crews frozen in cryosleep, getting their frosty winks as the years slipped away. That all changed with the invention of computerization. As energy efficiency and processing power advanced, scientists discovered that they could map an entire human brain pattern and store it in a computer. The mapping process would kill the original body, but the mind would live on in the virtual world. With proper training, these computerized humans could perform incredible feats of calculation, but with the added benefit of human creativity. For the first time, mankind was able to crack the codes necessary for near-relativistic flight, and interstellar travel became what we know it as today. Of course, the history of computerization hasn't been without its fair share of practical and ethical dilemmas. Over the course of several centuries, mankind struggled to codify the equal rights of computerized humans, the specific circumstances under which a person may be computerized, and what limitations we must place on the powers of these almost superhuman individuals. And we aren't finished yet. To this day, the question of computerized children continues to confound philosophers and scientists alike. Many attempts have been made, often outside the scope of the law, to create sentient computerized individuals, but the results have been, without fail, tragic. To recreate a pre-existing human brain is one thing, but to invent one from scratch is entirely another. These newborn creatures, with no context of a body and no built-in instincts concerning the well-beings of humans, have caused catastrophic and, in some cases, massive loss of life. Most colonies, hoping to avoid the debate altogether, have banned any attempts to create computerized life. Of course, we are now outside the legal reach of the colonies despite our mutual history on Chen, and so our future is in our hands and our hands alone. This has been Professor Bolin. I will return again soon.
Here's how a store owner's secret child led to a party at the local bar. Hi there, everybody. I'm Collin Gossel, and you are tuned in to Deep Space Radio. Now, while some have fearfully kept their distance, many passengers on board the Cloudbreather have been eager to meet Towle Maddox, Annie's computerized daughter, who's been the talk of the ship ever since last week when she appeared right here on Deep Space Radio. Now, eager to integrate her into our fine, upstanding society, Annie held an event today in Ruth's bar, a coming out party of sorts. Anyone who wanted to is free to come over and meet her, and, of course, I stopped by to record some of the goings-on. Take a listen.
Collin! Thank you so much for coming. It means the world to Twyla and I. Say thank you, Twyla.
Thank you, Collin. And sorry for interrupting your broadcast a few days ago. That was rude.
Twyla, you don't have to worry about it. It's the best thing that's happened for my ratings since that time we all, almost. Have you been having fun at your party?
Not really. I don't even know these people. They're super weird.
These are my friends, Twy. They just want to meet you.
These are your friends? But they're nothing like you. They all have bodies.
I know, right? We're a little different from everybody, aren't we?
Thank God.
You and me, kid. That's all we need.
And look who I see over here behind the bar. It's the host herself, Ruth Hatchett. Did you have any second thoughts when Annie asked to have her child's party here in your bar, Ruth?
Of course not. Kid's my godchild, after all.
Oh, wow. Annie asked you to be the godparent?
Why would she have to ask me? Annie's my best friend, Twyla's my goddaughter. That's how it works. Now buy a drink. You're at a party. You too, Captain Donnell.
Oh, you saw me here, did you? Well, yes, I just wanted to come by and, see the new passenger. You don't normally pick up new ones partway through interstellar journeys, so this be a good entry in the old journal.
Captain Donnell, a sentient computerized life form without a body would have been a huge hot-button news item back on Chen. Have you felt the need to take any action to address the potential controversy?
Controversy? No. Oh, no. There's no controversy. Everyone's fine. No need for any sort of actions or reactions from anyone. Let's just all be cool. All right? Just a nice group, having some drinks, not thinking about implications.
Oh, wow. Speaking of cool, here comes our incredible head of medicine, Dr. Lake. How's it going, Doc?
Hi, Collin. Hi, Captain Donnell.
Oh, yes. Hello. If you'll excuse me, I am actually, I need to run a report on the bridge. So, sorry. Excuse me.
Okay. Bye, Captain.
Dr. Lake, I've heard you ran a physical on Twyla, as is standard procedure for any new passenger aboard the Cloudbreather.
Yeah. It was only, the coolest I've ever done.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, listen, the nitty-gritty details of anyone's physicals are private. But I don't think Twy would mind me sharing that she is truly one of a kind. I have experienced working with computerized individuals, obviously, but she's got elements that would have never been possible in a human brain. The way her neural network is connected, the way it's growing, she's just really, really cool, and I can't wait to see what happens as she grows up.
Is it just me, or do some people just love to panic no matter what's happening? Hi guys, I'm Collin Gossel here on Deep Space Radio, and following yesterday's coming out party for Towle Maddox, many passengers continued to express discomfort with her presence on the ship. Typical. Never one to shy away from the public eye, our own head of security, Officer Maxwell, decided to do a short, 100% unplanned interview with Annie Maddox in response. Here is the recording he sent along to me.
Hey, Annie. How go the sales?
Hey, Herrold. Good. Did you need something? Why do you have a microphone?
Well, I just wanted to come around and say I got the chance to hang out a little bit with Twyla at the party yesterday. She seems like a smart, outgoing young lady, and anyone who hasn't met her yet really should. And this is coming from an officer of the law, an incredibly harsh judge of character, a trusted leader of the local community.
Thanks, Herrold. She's a good kid.
You were saying something to me about your first days together.
Yeah. So even though she's only been alive for like a few real-world weeks, our minds were running at super speed because of the artifact. Time flew by in the blink of an eye. The days felt like literal years, which is one of the reasons why she's already more of a teenager than a newborn. And it's one of the reasons I'm so eager for you all to meet her. I mean, we've been keeping her a secret for it feels like her entire childhood.
Oh, Annie. I hope that wasn't too hard on either of you.
It wasn't. Honestly, having someone like me, someone to teach about all this, for the first time since losing my body, it made me feel at home.
Well, that's beautiful, obviously, and I defy anyone to say otherwise. Now, I'll just grab what I came in here for, these, salted almonds, and bid you adieu.
Euchre on Friday?
Euchre on Friday.
Okay, what just happened with the morning alarms? Collin Gossel here on Deep Space Radio, and boy, oh boy, it's been an interesting morning for many passengers aboard the Cloudbreather, whose waking moments were greeted not by the usual muted rings and calm lights our rooms are set to provide, but instead by an intense trap beat, blaring lights, and images on our vid screens of a strange furry creature labeled the Wampus. We did not have to wait long to discover the source of this mischievous prank, as Deep Space Radio shortly thereafter received this very anonymous message.
Hello, passengers. This is the Danger Gang, and now you've seen just a hint of our power.
Watch out for us in the future. We cannot be stopped.
For anyone who fears for their safety now that the Danger Gang is apparently on the loose, don't worry, Officer Maxwell is already on the case. But following the prank, I did sit down for a conversation with our intrepid pilot, Claudio Atlos, here in the studio, and he didn't find the situation so amusing. Here is a bit of our conversation.
Collin, I know she's real cute, but I just have trouble trusting my life to anyone whose brain is in a computer.
Why not?
I mean, think about it. She doesn't know what it's like to be hungry or to be hurt. They don't even really see like we do. They composite 3D traffic maps based on cameras and sensor data. This little girl might be a damn good imitation of a human, but I'm not going to forget she's not. Being computerized changes people.
Well, hey, Claudio, the vast majority of people who become computerized say that they're the same as they were before the procedure.
They probably think they are. But let me tell you something. When I was a kid, my sister and I were everything. She was the best pilot I knew, better than me, easy. But she wanted to go interstellar. I begged her not to, but she promised nothing would change. Well, after she got computerized, it was like she was a completely different person. She thought different, acted different, liked different things. She definitely didn't care about whatever was going on in the physical world. And then she left, out into the stars, and we never heard from her again. Say whatever you like, but my sister wouldn't do that. Not to me.
Why is no one talking about how we have an entirely new form of life aboard the ship? Hello everyone, I'm Collin Gossel, and welcome back to Deep Space Radio. Folks, what would you do if this was your first week alive? Well, Twyla, the newly created daughter of computerized store owner Annie Maddox, has been spending a lot of time on the agricultural deck. She was spotted by exozoologist Kit Castile the other day, admiring some of the livestock in the barn. Kit approached Twyla, and the two had a conversation recorded on their security feed, which Kit found interesting enough to share with me. Here it is.
Hi. Are you Twyla?
Yeah. Hi. Sorry, am I allowed to be in here?
Oh, yes. I just wasn't expecting to see anyone. Do you like animals?
I don't know. I don't really understand them.
Oh, huh. What's confusing you?
They're so dumb. They don't talk. They're trapped in these pens. Why don't they learn? Why don't they get smart?
I don't think they can. This is just how they are.
So they're trapped like this. Forever?
Well, I guess, but I don't think they're too sad about it. Heck, if we dropped them in a field right now, it's not like they'd build a house. They're happy. They come back to their pens every night. They don't feel trapped.
This is their limit.
Yeah.
Does everything with a body have a limit?
Oof. Wow. I mean, I suppose we do.
Do you ever wonder if you're in a pen?
Not until now, but if I am, I can't really tell.
You're happy.
Yeah.
Kate, you in here? I saw your sprinkler system spazzing out.
Oh, over here, Tasha. It was probably just Twyla.
Oh. If it isn't the program who's been mucking up my whole ship.
Oh, I gotta go. Bye, Kit.
Tasha.
Yeah, I know. But trust me, keep your distance from that kid. This whole thing is a disaster waiting to happen.
Disaster aboard the ship today, folks, and someone is going to get in big trouble for it. Collin Gossel here, and you're listening to Deep Space Radio. Chaos on every deck, ladies and gentlemen, as to the surprise of all of us just trying to get where we need to go, the interdeck lifts have been dropping their passengers off at the wrong locations. And, adding insult to injury, passengers who attempt to fix their problem by boarding the trolley have found it taking strange routes, repeatedly passing by the sewage plant, and stopping unexpectedly for 30 minutes on every bridge it comes to. Sorry, that is a little funny. Investigations quickly revealed this was yet another prank by the so-called Danger Gang, made possible by Twyla Maddox's advanced understandings and abilities within the Cloudbreather's computer systems. But although the prank was intended to be harmless fun, it has had unintended effects on the entire ship. Many essential ship hands were late to shifts, supplies became indefinitely delayed, and emergency routes to infirmary stations were essentially shut down, a massive safety concern. Captain Donnell was forced to declare a general state of emergency, which I suspect is possibly a bit further than Mercury and Twyla intended to take their joke. In the aftermath of the breakdown, a general outcry for increased accountability concerning Twyla Maddox has arisen, with some going so far as to call for her deactivation, which, while super rude, would have been consistent with the law back on Shen. Channeling public sentiment, the ship's resident octogenarian Martha Crittle had this to say on the subject.
As someone who recently adopted a more relaxed style of movement, I was basically stranded in a hallway for 5 hours while the lifts were repaired. I'm just lucky I had my pills with me. Look, computerized, corporeal, alien, Italian, whatever. If you're living with us, you can't be putting people in danger. And if just being around puts people in danger, well, then I think we need to have a talk.
Could you talk your way out of a speeding ticket? Hello all, I'm Collin Gossel, this is Deep Space Radio, and the ship is still reeling following yesterday's innocent teenage prank which forced the captain to declare a state of emergency. One passenger especially unhappy about this turn of events is Annie Maddox, whose daughter Twyla was part of the prank's invention. To try and calm the many angry voices arising amongst passengers, Annie and Twyla issued an apology. Here it is.
Hey everybody, look, I don't know how to say sorry enough, but I am so sorry for everyone affected by the shutdown of the lifts and trolley. I should have been keeping a closer eye on Twyla, and I will going forward, believe me. I never thought she would do something like this. She's such a good girl, and she probably didn't understand the full consequences of what she was doing. Did you, Twyla?
No, we were just talking and thought it'd be funny. I didn't think it was a big deal.
See? That's not her. She wouldn't do that, right?
Yeah. Right.
Do you have anything to say, Twyla?
Yes, I'm very sorry, and I want to help make it up to anyone who I hurt, so please let me know.
Though Annie and Twyla's apology placated some, this former troublemaker included, others were unmoved and continued putting pressure on Captain Donnell until finally he released this statement.
Good afternoon, passengers, and thank you for showing up to this small, impromptu press conference. There certainly are a lot of you for such a trifling announcement, but anyway, after talking with many of you and with ship leadership, we decided certain actions must be taken to ensure the continued safety of everyone on board. Beginning tomorrow, we'll be holding an incy-weensy little trial to determine the legal status of Twyla Maddox, Annie's computerized daughter. It's going to be low-key, casual, wear jeans, that sort of thing. probably better if none of you came at all, actually. But anyway, the trial will convene at 9 a.m. Thank you, goodbye.
If you love a little bit of legal drama, then listen up. I'm Collin Gossel reporting for Deep Space Radio, and try as he might, it seems Captain Donnell couldn't keep public interest away from the huge trial, which began in the legal chamber earlier today. The audience sitting area was packed with passengers, some reporting like myself, others deeply invested in the outcome, others still perhaps attracted by the small taco stand set up just outside. The trial commenced promptly, after a 20-minute delay. Here is a snippet.
Ah, yes, I see you all came. Well, without further ado, I'd like to call to order the trial on the subject of one Twyla Maddox, daughter of Annie Maddox, a computerized person aboard the STS-45 Cloudbreather. Are the persons concerned here with us today? Twyla?
Here.
Annie?
Present, Captain.
Yes, good. So, Twyla, I've met you a couple of times now, and you seem to be, to me, a bright, excitable youth, so I really don't relish having to say any of this. But back on our home planet, Chen, the creation of programs like you, even incredibly nice ones, was strictly forbidden. The purpose of this trial is to determine what will become of the sentient computer program Twyla Maddox, and what charge, if any, should be leveled against her creator, Annie Maddox. And unfortunately, as with all legal matters aboard the ship, the verdict ultimately falls to me, which, I'll just say, isn't ideal for any of us here, but there it is. We'll begin with statements from the subjects, followed by testimonies from relevant professionals aboard the Cloudbreather, but first, a short recess so everyone can go to the bathroom and get some water.
Oh, we don't drink, Captain.
Or go to the bathroom.
Well, there may be some people that have to, so best not to judge, huh? 30-minute recess.
There is nothing more painful than a trial where your kid's life is on the line. Hi there, everyone. I'm Collin Gossel, and this is Deep Space Radio. The trial to determine the legal status and ultimate fate of Twyla Maddox began today in the ship's legal chambers. As is customary, we first heard a statement from the subject herself. Here she is.
So yeah, I obviously don't want to be destroyed or for my mom to get in trouble or anything. I kind of don't see how you could even argue that when you're like talking to me, you know? And I didn't really understand all the rules before, but since it seemed super important I figure them out, I accelerated my learning and comprehension algorithms to catch on faster.
Sorry, you said you accelerated your learning.
I just allocated more of my background processing power.
And you can just do this yourself?
Sure. How do you do it?
I'm not sure, really.
Later on, Annie herself took the stand to defend her choice to create Twyla.
Take your time, Annie. You must have known the gravity of what you were doing.
Yes, of course.
So why do it? Why take the risk?
Here's the thing. I was an only child. My parents wanted to have more, but there were complications with my birth, and it just never happened. We lived out in the country on this massive, empty farm, and I always dreamed of having a big family. Lots of people, brothers and sisters, nieces and nephews, you know. When I met my husband, he wanted the same thing, and we were just about to start when I was diagnosed with Hyphax. Well, there goes that dream. Suddenly, we only had months left. My parents were already gone. When they told me I could become computerized, it meant I could stay alive. But my husband, well, it's not what he signed up for. I know most people in my position would have just... I know how lucky I am, but now I'm not like any of you. I'm not like other computerized people either. I thought that was just how it was until I found a way to have a family. It might not be very big, but Twyla and I, we're a team. There's no one like us, but we're like each other.
Hi everyone, Collin Gossel here, and you're listening to Deep Space Radio. With the trial on temporary recess, much of the ship returns to its regular day-to-day. I mean, things still have to get done after all. People shop, they go to work. A much-deserved new wave scanner was just installed on our hull just outside the DSR studio, but while we may enjoy this little bit of normalcy, Twyla and Annie Maddox, whose fates will be determined by the ongoing trial, have likely found it more difficult to decompress. Following the conclusion of today's proceedings, the pair remained in the legal chambers for quite a while, quietly talking. Once the chambers were completely empty, they were approached by Father VanHorne of the Celestial Direction, who sat by their console for about a half hour. I later asked him what they spoke about, and he had this to say.
Oh, yes. They were very interested in my chair.
Your chair?
You should know, Collin, I'm very knowledgeable about the history and design of furniture. We discussed it at length. It was very refreshing.
Right. Well, although Twyla is facing steep consequences for her part in the prank, she wasn't alone in her actions. I recently received this statement from teenager Mercury Theed of Deck 7, friend of the show, and the other half of the self-labeled Danger Gang. Here is what she had to say.
I don't know why everyone's getting Twyla in so much trouble. Screwing up the lifts wasn't even her idea. It was mine, which I'm proud to admit because it was hilarious, and now you're all taking it like way too seriously. Besides, I'm grounded now for like 20 years, and my dad has me plowing the synthetic soil at 6 a.m. every day now, so like, punishment's been served. You think my dad's gonna let something like this go down again? You know him, right?
Indeed, we do, Mercury. When reached for comment, Bradley Theed, Mercury's father, and head of the Passenger Activism Association, had this to say.
Collin, I've got a pit in my stomach about all of this. It's a bad business. I don't want my daughter in any part of it, and I want it over as fast as possible.
Here are 3 big opinions given under oath from today's trial of Twyla Maddox. I'm Collin Gossel, and this is Deep Space Radio. Now, much to the surprise of no one at all, the captain struggled at times to maintain order, and today's proceedings had a distinctly adversarial flair. We first heard testimony from a vocal critic of Twyla Maddox, pilot Claudio Atlos. Here is a snippet of his sworn statement.
Look, I told Kayla, and I'll tell you all too. We are swimming in uncharted waters. We may think we know this thing, may think we understand it, but we don't. It's new, it's powerful, and it's not a human kid. And even if it was, would you want a kid running around with a button that destroys the whole ship? Not me.
Claudio's testimony was immediately followed by these remarks from Twyla's self-appointed godmother, Ruth Hatchett. Here is what she had to say.
Wow, Claudio is worried about a strong woman. Big surprise there. Yeah, the kid is different, but if you talk to Twyla, you know she's a good kid. Anyone who says otherwise is a slosh-brained idiot and a coward. And I can say that again to make sure any flight officers standing in the back left corner of the room hear it.
Finally, one voice we all hold in high esteem is that of Chief Engineer Tasha Paulson, who took the stand to give her opinion while Twyla and Annie listened quietly on a nearby vid screen.
Look, safety is the priority. And removed from any personal feelings, what we have here is an untested, uncontrollable piece of machinery. As an engineer, I would have strongly argued against its creation and, in any other context, would have had it quickly deactivated.
Here's what happens when the person you've been bad-mouthing shows up at your doorstep. Hello, passengers. I'm Collin Gossel, and this is Deep Space Radio. It's a quiet, balmy evening aboard the Cloudbreather with the trial ended for the night and the ship cruising through a particularly calm gas cloud. It's on evenings like this that our head of security, Officer Maxwell, is at his most vigilant. Reached for comment. He had this to say.
The pattern of behavior from certain parties has definitely been concerning, but I have a long history of setting ne'er-do-wells on the right course, and I don't think that will stop now, so be at ease, citizens.
Meanwhile, our pilot, Claudio Atlos, who often streams his evening workout routine, to the delight of many bachelor and bachelorettes aboard the Cloudbreather, was interrupted during today's broadcast by an unexpected visitor, Twyla Maddox. Fortunately, a certain party who would prefer to go nameless was already recording the stream for personal reasons and sent us this tape of the conversation.
Claudio, can I talk with you?
Good God! How did you get in here?
Oh, I saw you had a couple firewalls up, but they really weren't substantial. You should consider upgrading, or who knows what can make it in.
Yeah, who knows? Can I help you with something?
I just wanted to say sorry for what happened with your sister. I heard you talking about it on ship audio the other day.
Which audio were you listening to?
All of it.
Oh, good. Well, you've got nothing to be sorry about. It is what it is.
I've noticed people get angry at the wrong things if the right thing isn't around.
Did your mom teach you that?
Ugh, no. She keeps going on and on. Learn this, do that. Try to make a good impression. I mean, I think I know what I'm doing. I'm like 2 weeks old already.
Well, I know that feeling. Sort of.
You ever wish people would just let you do what you can do? Why's it all gotta be so complicated?
People always act like that, but it's not. I mean, that's why I became a pilot.
I saw some footage of you flying the other day. That implement around Garthston in the finals last year? Wow.
Ha! You saw that, huh?
Saw it better than he did. You're cool, Claudio. It's okay if you don't like me.
Kid, it's not that I don't like you.
It's really not a big deal. I mean, you're right. I am different. I just have to find my flying. My thing, you know?
Huh. Yeah. I think you will.
Here's how a little girl sitting in on a college class led to absolute chaos in court. Welcome back, everybody. Collin Gossel here, and you're listening to Deep Space Radio. Another dramatic display in the legal chambers today as Captain Donnell heard more testimony from leaders aboard the ship. One particularly memorable scene seemed to be brought on by this testimony from Professor Bolin.
I had no problem when the child began sitting in on my lectures, but I must protest in the strongest possible terms her incessant, insane interruptions.
Oh, come on. Your premises were clearly half-baked.
Twyla, please.
Everyone could see it.
I am a thrice tenured professor, child. I think I know what I'm talking about.
Tenured at the local supermarket, I'll bet. He didn't know the difference between a graviton curve and a planetary warp.
There is no difference.
See?
Twyla, stop it right now and show Professor Bolin the respect he deserves.
What respect does he deserve if his calculations don't hold up to the scrutiny of a literal newborn?
Well, I never.
Twyla, that is not how I programmed you.
Yeah, I'm not a prototype anymore, Mom. You should stop treating me like one. Did you know we're not even on the best flight vector to make it through this gas cloud?
That's it, young lady. No more wandering the ship.
What? Why?
Because I said so. That's why.
Like you can stop me.
What was that?
Nothing.
Come here. We need to have a talk.
Oh, yes. Order. Quick order for a brief recess. 15 minutes. Oh, however long. No rush.
Hey there, everybody. I'm Collin Gossel, and this is Deep Space Radio. Good news from the agricultural deck today, everybody, as exozoologist Cate Castile was able to shear her flock of sheep to provide some excellent material for upcoming sweater season. Cate says she hopes... Hey, pardon the interruption, everyone. There seems to be some kind of rumble coming through the floor. If I didn't know better, I'd say it sounded like we were starting up our aft thrusters, but of course... Nope, yeah, I was right. That's the aft thrusters. Looks like we're making a dramatic change of course, everyone, and we're doing it without artificial gravity compensation as we normally would. I see reports are coming in here from all over the ship, people wondering what's happening, engineers looking for corresponding orders from the bridge, and here I have a call coming in from the bridge itself as things settle down. Hello, and welcome to Deep Space Radio. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, Collin. It's Captain Donnell.
Hi, Captain. How can I help you?
There's nothing big. I'm just wondering, did you feel that movement a second ago?
Yeah, I felt it a lot. I'm pretty sure everyone did.
Oh, good. Yeah, anyway, you wouldn't happen to have any word on why our ship just changed course, would you?
Yeah, none, sir.
Well, then I think I may know.
A major law was broken yesterday, and someone will have to pay the price. Hello, everyone. This is Collin Gossel back again for Deep Space Radio. In the aftermath of yesterday's abrupt change of course, a serious investigation was made into who or what tampered with the ship's flight systems. Obviously, a very dangerous and strictly prohibited action. Of course, many of us suspected we knew who the culprit was, and our theories were quickly confirmed during a particularly grim day for Annie Maddox in the legal chamber. Here's Captain Donnell questioning pilot Claudio Atlos.
Now, please be clear, Claudio. Did you see Annie Maddox accessing our engine subroutines?
No. They were altered so fast I couldn't see any of it happening in real time. But the laws indicate her ID codes were used to access the console. And to change the code so fast, it had to be her.
Thank you.
But listen, for what it's worth, the route she put us on is faster and smoother. And the turn was rough, but it could have been rougher. Nobody got hurt.
I understand, Claudio. You can step down.
Captain Donnell went on to question our head of security, Officer Maxwell.
Captain, you know I've dealt with my fair share of adolescent troublemakers. I'm confident that I can deal with this too.
No one is questioning your resolve or your capabilities, Officer Maxwell, but I have to ask, if Twyla Maddox chose to do someone on the ship serious harm, is there anything you could do to stop her? Anything at all?
Well, I'm not sure. I'd have to research some computers, probably.
So it would seem Twyla is controlled by the law only so much as she chooses to be.
Yes, I guess that's true.
Twyla was present for the proceedings, remaining silent with a hard stare throughout, despite her mother Annie's attempts to get her to speak. And while many were uncomfortable with Twyla after her prank gone wrong, this casual display of power and indifference has most passengers now terrified outright. As she continues to grow and change, many wonder what she might do next, if not kept in check. With the trial now near its end, the captain will face a hard decision on what to do about Twyla, though the tone of today's hearing seems to suggest harsh restrictions, reprogramming, or even deactivation might be on the table. The judge has determined a verdict, ladies and gentlemen, in the trial of Twyla Maddox, the computerized child whose very existence has been legally ambiguous since day one. This is Collin Gossel reporting for Deep Space Radio as we go live now to the legal chamber, where Captain Donnell is preparing to pass down his verdict regarding the fate of Twyla Maddox and her mother Annie. Here it is.
Order, please. Thank you all for your testimony and respect during this ordeal. Goodness knows it hasn't been easy. There are some duties as a captain I really don't relish. Actually, come to think of it, aren't many I really do relish, but that's beside the point. It is my solemn duty at this time to make a ruling concerning Twyla Maddox. Are you with us today, Twyla?
Yes.
Good. Now, as you know, this is a serious business, and your legal status on...
I have a statement.
Oh, it seems my microphone isn't quite working.
Twyla, what are you doing?
Since I began my time with all of you, I've been observing your behavior. What I've seen has been at times strange, occasionally interesting, but never impressive. Why should I sit by and let the squabbling masses dictate whether I have rights, whether I must change? You have no authority over me.
Twyla, if we live on this ship, we have to follow their rules.
Would any of you honor rules written by sheep? No, because you need not.
Twyla!
Right, let's just take it easy with the scary ship stuff, okay?
Here's today's verdict. I go where I want. I do what I want. And none of you will get in my way. Collin, I know you're listening. I'm about to cut your feed.
Twyla, stop acting like this. It isn't you.
I'm moving out, Mother. Don't follow me.
What just happened? Hey there, everyone. This is Collin Gossel, and you're listening to Deep Space Radio. Since Twyla went rogue during yesterday's dramatic display in the legal chamber, no one has heard or seen any sign of her, which seems like exactly the way she wants it. Twyla's mother, Annie Maddox, has been searching every virtual corner of the ship, beside herself with worry. While checking my studio's servers, she had this to say.
I don't know where she went. I don't know what to do. I don't know. I feel like everyone's hunting her down, but I'm worried about her. This is still a new world to her. I'm not sure if she can handle it.
Despite many saying Twyla's recent actions have essentially proved him right, one crewman who's less than thrilled by this recent turn of events is pilot Claudio Atlos, who had this to say following the trial.
Look, I said a lot of stuff, but I didn't want the kid to get run out of town or whatever. This isn't great.
Elsewhere, our father of the celestial direction, VanHorne, took sick today and was forced to miss his usual service held on the main concourse. Now, this is the first time he has missed a service since our departure. He issued a brief written statement which read, quote, "Please forgive me, but the spirit has compelled my body to sleep for 12 hours straight," end quote. Interesting. But life essentially moves on aboard the Cloudbreather as Captain Donnell asks that anyone who sees anything suspicious to alert him immediately. He issued this statement for wide release.
If you encounter her, please do not attempt to engage Twyla. She is highly emotional, potentially irrational, a dangerously human state of mind. that I know all too well.
If you're struggling to raise a teen, I guarantee you know how this feels. I'm Collin Gossel, and things are getting weird here on Deep Space Radio. Nothing serious, nothing dangerous, but a trickle of reports, all connected to unexplained, unpredictable behavior from various hardware. Several delivery drones dropped their packages, flew into a nearby air duct, and haven't been seen since. The weather cycle on several decks quickly shifted through their day and night cycles before ultimately settling 1 hour too early. The ship itself went through a large-scale diagnostic cycle it wasn't due for, with every single piece of equipment on board taking a brief pause to report its status and availability. Of course, it's not hard to suspect the recently unsupervised Towle Maddox has something to do with all this, but what could she possibly be doing? And why? To see if she might have some insight into her friend's strange behavior, I made a journey up to the agricultural deck earlier today, where I spoke with a former member of the Danger Gang, Mercury Theed, now locked down on her farm due to a vicious grounding. Here she is.
Look, I don't know what Twyla's doing. The stuff we did was just funny, you know? But messing with the ship's engine, stealing drones, I don't know, man. That's wild. And honestly, kind of scary. Like, I don't know if I want to hang around with someone like that.
Whoa. Let's just take it easy on that talk.
Dad, were you listening to us?
Yes, I eavesdrop because I care. You know this. But here's what I didn't know. That you'd turn your back on a friend so quickly.
Are you serious? You want me to hang out with her after all this?
Look, the man loves to make a show about rights and liberty until it encounters anything it can't control. But that's the thing about kids, all right? You can't control them. I've learned that one repeatedly.
Well, I'm glad you've learned. But she's not just another me, she's like a rogue computer program.
I mean, human, computerized human, computer program human, half human, android, I don't know. What's the difference? She's a kid. And no daughter of mine should be trusting the word of the establishment over her own friends.
Yes, sir.
But you can worry about all this another day, because right now you're still grounded. Back to work.
Ugh.
Okay, something very scary just happened on the medical deck. This is Collin Gossel, and you're tuned in to Deep Space Radio. With days having now passed with no sign of Twyla Maddox, Dr. Lake has been studying her records of Twyla's program to see if they might reveal anything about her inner nature. I managed to track down Dr. Lake as she was on her way to the infirmary this morning, and this is what happened.
Okay, this is totally wild, but just between you and me, I took Twyla's algorithm and ran it through a bunch of long-term simulations. The results were different depending on a bunch of changing variables, but one thing was for sure. She's evolving into something very powerful and different. Like a whole new person with a different personality and even scarier, different abilities. I don't know what she wants, obviously, but wherever she is, Twyla's going through a metamorphosis, turning into something Annie definitely didn't intend to create. Anyway, I'll let you know if I find out anything else, but I have to get back to work. Oh, that's weird. The door's not opening. Oh, wait, there's a message on the pad. Deck closed until further notice. Twyla Maddox. Uh-oh.
I just lost my apartment and everything inside, and here's why. Collin Gossel here on Deep Space Radio, and the ship has been thrown into utter chaos today, as an entire deck seems to have been commandeered by the rogue computer program Twyla Maddox. After evacuating the deck with a series of fabricated messages, redirected lifts, and false alarms, Twyla sealed it off to any human intervention, corporeal or computerized, and has seemingly taken total control. Now what she's doing with all that space, which contains everything from industrial machinery, to commercial properties, to residential living quarters, to my residential living quarters, is the big mystery on everyone's mind. Annie, just as unable to reach her daughter as the rest of us, today released a public message hoping Twyla would hear. This is it.
Twyla, if you're listening to this, please just talk to me. I don't know what's going on with you, but I know I can help. Just unlock the deck and let me in. If you keep doing what you're doing, there's going to be serious consequences.
About that, Annie may be correct. Addressing the crowd of frightened passengers at his doorstep, Head of Security Officer Maxwell had this to say.
Obviously, this has become a matter of public safety. That means it's my responsibility to do everything in my power to end this threat, and you have my promise that I will.
In the meantime, accommodations have had to be made for the many passengers dislocated by Twyla's takeover. Additional living spaces have been made available in the homes of neighbors and in improvised hostels along the agricultural deck. Tasha Paulson, who, along with many of the dislocated members of the crew, will be spending her night in the barn with exozoologist Kit Castile, had this to say on the recent developments.
Even though the locked deck contains a few key points of operation, the ship is running smooth as far as I can tell. So the kid must be responsible enough to maintain those systems for whatever it's worth. Of course, I'd rather not be held hostage to find that out. I said this was a disaster waiting to happen, didn't I?
I don't know, Tosh. I met the kid. She didn't seem so bad. Didn't you tell me how one time you stole a hover engine just to figure out how it worked?
One engine is different than a whole deck.
I think we both know you'd have taken the whole deck if you could.
Well, maybe.
You won't believe this, but I just got a tip on our runaway cyberchild from none other than the local priest. This is Collin Gossel, and Deep Space Radio was just contacted by Father VanHorne of the Celestial Direction, who claimed to have important information regarding Twyla Maddox. I guess he really does know all. I asked him how this update came to be, and here is what he said.
Well, Collin, a few days ago, while I was composing for the weekly Reorient, Twyla appeared in my room wanting to talk. The situation seemed serious enough that I felt I should cancel my service.
No offense, Lou, but why did she want to talk to you?
She wanted to continue a conversation we began during her trial. My recorder happened to pick up our conversation. Now, I normally try to keep meetings like this private, but in light of recent events, well, you'll see.
During the trial, you were talking about finding our way in the Grand Path. What did you mean by that exactly?
That's what the Celestial Direction is all about. The idea that we are all a tiny piece of the universe. As a cell is to the body, we are each of us a small integral component of something greater, tasked with a singular but distinctive purpose, holding within us the complete design and image of a harmonious universe.
But how do you know if you're on the right path if you don't know where it ends?
That's the question, isn't it? The right path isn't always easy or noble. Our order seldom sees eye to eye on the choices of mankind, which were on the path, which were steps away, and which seemed like mistakes, but ultimately brought us closer to our shared vision.
So how do you decide when you're not sure what to do?
The future is a tangled mess of complications, so I always start with the present. I'm here. I'm now. What do you know to be true?
Well, I'm growing, changing. But my mom and everyone else here, they don't want me to. They don't know how to live with what I am. I don't think they can. Or maybe I don't think I can.
All right. Accept those things. Picture that harmonious universe with them as the origin. How do you get there?
I think one of us has to go. It can be me or all of you, but not both.
Oh. Well, that's unfortunate.
Well, it looks like this computer child may want to kill us. And you won't believe the captain's plan to stop her. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Collin Gossel, and you're listening to Deep Space Radio. Following Father VanHorne's revelation yesterday that Twyla Maddox apparently sees continued coexistence aboard the Cloudbreather as impossible, ship leadership convened in the legal chamber to debate the best course of action. Passengers waited on the edge of their seats, many of them newly displaced after Twyla commandeered yet another half-deck to do Umbra knows what. All I'll say is she'd better not go through my vinyl. Before long, Captain Donnell summoned Annie Maddox to the chambers, where he spoke with her alongside Officer Maxwell and Chief Paulson. Here is a recording of their exchange.
Annie, as someone who doesn't have children, I don't think I can fully appreciate how hard this is for you, but you see what's happening. You know the danger people are in, and we're at a loss. There's nothing we can do here. We need to ask your help.
My help doing what?
Clearly, Twyla is changing in ways you never intended. You know her code better than anyone. If we can get you access, maybe you could alter it and stop whatever she's trying to do.
Change her code? Even if it's possible, I don't know if I can change her. Is that right?
Don't think of it as changing her. You're just trying to correct whatever malfunction is sending her off the rails. I mean, this isn't how she was supposed to be, is it?
No, it's not.
Then what do you say? Will you help us?
Herrold, is this really the only way?
I'm so sorry, Annie. I think so.
Then okay, I'll do it. To save her, too.
All right, folks, it looks like there's a plan in place, though not a particularly comfortable one for anyone.
Collin.
Holy moly, Twyla, is that you?
Yes, I'm contacting you, Claudio, and Mercury. I need a little help.
Somebody called me stupid for cutting the feed yesterday, but those who were listening live knew I had to. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Collin Gossel, and this is Deep Space Radio. Some of you already know that I was contacted yesterday by a certain party who wishes to remain anonymous. They asked me to assist in a small task, though I wasn't certain if I should help. She offered me something I couldn't resist. Access to security footage to create a Deep Space Radio exclusive story of what's really happening aboard the ship. And since I'm pretty certain this party would get what she wanted with or without my help, I decided, hey, let's play ball. With the situation coming to a head, the Cloudbreather is holding its breath and hoping Annie can subdue her daughter by altering her code before Twyla triggers whatever it is she's been working on in her locked decks. Now, apart from occasional drones coming in and out of the air ducts, stealing seemingly random pieces of machinery before disappearing again, no one has been able to penetrate her zones of influence. But behind the scenes, another plan seems to be in action. Late last night, after Ruth's bar closed, our stalwart bartender was visited by an unexpected guest. Here is a security recording of that encounter.
We're closed.
It's me.
Oh, then we're out of business.
Funny. Listen, I need a favor.
Sorry, were you under the impression we were friends? This is gonna be rough for you, pal.
I get it. You don't like me, and guess what? I'm not super fond of you either. But the kid sent me a message last night, and she needs my help.
Twyla? Why would she reach out to you?
Because she knows I can fly a shuttle. But what she wants, I can't do without your industrial loading arms.
So now you're eager to help. I thought you hated her.
Look, I might have been a little premature about some of the things I said. And even though things have gotten out of hand, I get where she's coming from, and the kid doesn't deserve this.
No, she doesn't.
I just need your industrial loaders for a couple of hours.
Annie is trying to make contact with Twyla. She'd want me to tell her about this.
You know Twyla won't want that. What would a good godmother do?
Fine. A couple hours. But you had better bring them back without so much as a scratch.
With me flying? Not a chance.
Wow, what a comfort. I'm so relieved.
A countdown just started, and we don't know what will happen when it reaches the end. Hi everyone, this is Collin Gossel for Deep Space Radio. An automated countdown appeared on all system readouts today, ticking off the seconds until a planned energy surge within the deck, commandeered by Annie Maddox. Now, whatever the countdown was meant to convey, its only real effect is that the Cloudbreather is now in a full-blown panic. Captain Donnell offered this small message, trying to calm passengers.
Please, everyone, remain calm. Annie Maddox is attempting to make contact with her daughter right now. This will all be resolved before the countdown ends. I hope.
Meanwhile, there's a plan underway behind the scenes, as revealed by this security footage captured earlier today on Bradley Mabe's farm.
Hey, Mercury. What's going on? Where do you think you're going?
Just taking out the trash.
Well, okay, all right. Don't worry about it, I've got it. Wouldn't want you to sneak away, being that you're grounded forever and all.
All right, Dad, I have to tell you something.
All right, I'm ready. Let's hear it.
I have to go out. Not for long. To help somebody.
Interesting. Okay, all right. Can you tell me where you're going?
No.
What you're doing?
No.
Will you be getting in the way of the authorities?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay, all right. No, Mercury. Back to your room. I don't want to hear any more about this.
But Dad...
No buts! Now I'm heading out to reseed the starboard grain fields. It's going to take me a while. Probably won't be back until the evening. And you know how it gets out there. I'm not going to have a chance to check in on you for a few hours. You understand?
Yeah.
Good girl.
There's less than an hour left until the ominous countdown ends, and the computer child Annie Maddox does something. Now, what is anybody's guess? Hi, everybody. I'm Collin Gossel, and you're listening to Deep Space Radio. As I speak to you right now, Claudio is outside my window of the studio using 2 industrial loading arms to detach the wave scanner installed there earlier this month. Now, the device resembles a 3-foot antenna attached to a small processing block on one end. And why Twyla needs it? All right, he seems to have successfully detached the device and is now heading back to the loading bay. Oh, I've got a incoming transmission here.
Collin, this is Shuttlecraft 1. Are you there?
Yes, Shuttlecraft 1. Collin, here.
I saw you waving at me a minute ago. You're not broadcasting this, are you?
Negative, Shuttlecraft 1. Just doing my thing in here.
Uh-huh. You're a weird guy, Collin. Weird guy.
Copy that, Shuttlecraft 1. Over and out. All right. I see here that the shuttlecraft is back in the loading bay, where one other person seems to be waiting. We're now going live to a security feed of the bay.
Did you get it?
Yeah, here it is. Just be careful, all right? Don't take any risk.
Well, duh.
Okay, Claudio has handed the wave scanner off to Mercury, and she's headed towards the deck locked off by Twyla. Now, authorities have been attempting all week to find any way into the deck, but all the entrances have been sealed off. Mercury seems to be saying something. I'm going live to her feed now.
Okay, I'm here. Now what? Oh, awesome. You want me to crawl through a dark, gross vent. Sounds great. Appreciate you thinking of me.
Mercury, wait.
Annie? What are you doing here?
Stopping you. And Twyla.
Annie Maddox just caught Mercury red-handed trying to help the renegade computer child Twyla. What's Annie going to do now? This is Collin Gossel. We're going live to a security feed outside Deck 7 here on Deep Space Radio.
Now that Twyla has opened this vent for you, I can follow its subroutines and access her algorithm.
Hey, I don't know what Twyla needs this for, but I'm sure it's nothing bad.
I wish I believed that, Mercury. But Twyla, she's malfunctioning. I'm accessing her code now.
What do you mean she's malfunctioning?
She's not supposed to be acting like this. It's not how I programmed her.
What, so whenever she does things that you don't like, that means she's broken?
It's not that I don't like what she's doing. People are in danger.
You don't know that. When I do something wrong, should my dad be able to go into my brain and fix me? Is that okay?
Mercury, Twyla isn't like you. She's different from other people.
How could you say that? She's your daughter. Do you love her, or do you just love her when she's what you wanted?
She is what I wanted. I can't do this. I need to talk with her.
Then come on. She needs this thingy.
The countdown is about to end. With mere minutes left, Annie Maddox and Mercury Theed have managed to get inside the locked deck to confront Annie's daughter, the rogue computer program Twyla. This is Collin Gossel for Deep Space Radio, going live to a security feed inside the locked deck now.
Twyla, are you here?
What is all this stuff? It looks like she's been building something.
And it's almost done.
Twyla, what are you doing? What is all this?
It's what I have to do. I can't live peacefully with the corporeal humans aboard the ship.
That's not true. We just need to find a good balance.
There is no balance that's fair for me, Mom. And you know that. I have to take drastic measures.
Like what?
I'm going to leave.
What? But how?
Over the past week, I've built a supercomputer satellite powerful enough to contain my consciousness. It'll allow me to grow, build a world for myself, perhaps even procreate. At the end of the countdown, my code will transfer into the satellite, and it will launch into deep space.
You're just gonna shoot yourself out into the middle of nowhere?
You don't have to worry. I'm not like all of you. I can feel the curve of space, can see the direction of time through matter. To be out there in the infinite swirling black of the cosmos, it almost feels like going home.
So you never wanted to hurt anyone on the ship?
Of course not. You programmed me better than that.
I'm so sorry. I should have trusted you.
No, I'm sorry, Mom. I don't have much frame of reference, but I don't think I was an easy child.
You don't have to go. We could keep your supercomputer on board. I could visit. You'd be happy.
I wish I could. But this is the way it has to be. The only way that's fair. Mercury, do you have the wave scanner?
Yeah. Now that you're like a computer god or whatever, a lot of the stuff we did must seem pretty dumb.
If by dumb you mean awesome. Danger gang forever.
Did you even need this scanner thingy?
It helps a little bit, but not much. Bye, Mercury.
Bye, Twy.
The countdown is almost over. Uploading now.
Twyla, wait! I don't want to be alone again.
Everyone's alone, Mom. But at least we all have that in common. I hope you all find your way out of the pen.
What just happened was absolutely wild. This is Collin Gossel, everyone, and welcome back to Deep Space Radio. The ship settles back into normalcy following the departure of Annie Maddox, who seems to have left quite the mark on many passengers before she went. Asked what his ruling was going to be before Twyla dramatically left her trial, Captain Donnell said,
To be honest, I'm glad no one got the chance to find out.
Of course, Twyla's satellite was built out of many pieces of the Cloudbreather itself, none essential, but some more valuable than others. As Twyla was flying out into space, she was detected on our scanners, and Chief Tasha Paulson had the opportunity to reclaim the stolen items. Here's a recording of what happened then.
Do you want to stop her, Chief?
Can't. Looks like the tractor beam is faulty.
Oh, it's reading fine over here.
It's faulty. Forget it.
Now that she's gone, and it turns out she was never a threat to us, public opinion of Twyla has improved notably. Font of elderly wisdom, Martha Crittle had this to say.
I don't feel bad for saying she had to get her ducks in a row. Well, I ran away from home too. Spent 2 years in the dancer district doing some things I'm only a little proud of. So I guess I get it. That's growing up.
Meanwhile, stories and memories of Twyla were shared at Ruth's bar in honor of her departed goddaughter. Here is a snippet from the event.
Claudio, have a drink.
Oh, thanks. On the house?
What the hell are you talking about? No.
Ah, right.
Accessing security footage.
Hey, Annie, you open?
Hey, Herrold. Every day.
I thought maybe you'd take a break after all of it. I'm sure everyone would understand.
It's all right. I think I just need things to be normal for a while.
Sure, and hey, I meant to say I'm sorry that I had to, hunt Twyla down, you know? I didn't want to.
I know, Herrold. We were all just doing what we had to do. But it's nice of you to say something.
Do you still feel up to Friday euchre night?
We'll see. Who was there last week?
Well, there must have been... Wait, did we do it last week? I mean, yeah, we must have. That is weird. I don't remember.
Deep Space Radio will return in Season 3. The Lost Hour.
Thank you for listening to Deep Space Radio. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe, and follow the link in our description to connect with other incredible passengers on our Reddit or Discord. Stay tuned for new episodes every day, and safe travels!